We are back for another edition of the Roll Stable podcast. Joe Hoffman here. Thank you all for watching and listening. Remember to follow UCM on all social media accounts for the latest news and information. Download the UCM Athletics mobile app, free on the Apple App Store and on Google Play. Well, currently we are in what we like to call in the business crossover season. We have winter sports finishing up, basketball, wrestling, indoor track, and at the same time, spring sports have begun. Baseball, softball, golf, they're all getting underway right about now. So a lot going on around UCM. It's an exciting time. And speaking of exciting, you may have heard the most recent news that the Central Region for women's basketball coming back to Central Missouri. That'll be next month, March 12th through the 15th. Still have to finish up the regular season and the MIAA tournament, which the Jennies have clinched a spot in before that. But mark your calendars, March 12th through the 15th. Don't want to miss that. Of course, we all remember the Jennies were set to host last year in 2020 before the NCAA canceled the postseason the day before the tournament was set to begin. A little bit of poetic justice here, if you will, getting the chance to host again this year. And while the Jennies have been playing well, fingers crossed that they get the opportunity to play in the tournament. They still have to qualify for it, so there's no guarantee that we'll be in it even though we are hosting. We still need to be selected. We'll find that out at the selection show Sunday, March 7th. Like I said at the top, this is all about beginnings and endings, coming to the close of basketball season and winter sports, and that means it's the start of baseball season. And my guest today knows a little something about that. From Lenexa, Kansas, Mules Baseball pitcher Mason Green. Mason, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Joe. Nice to have me. Thank you for having me on.
What's going on? How you been?
Not much. We've been on a 2-week hiatus. I'm with the weather. It's not the best right now. It kind of stinks out. We start our season really early usually for baseball. Most Division I start pretty late, so they have a little nicer weather. But for us, we start a little earlier. So us having snow here in Missouri, we got to travel down to Houston every year, which is really a blessing. Really nice thing that we start our year. Every year we kind of have a for sure thing to get to play at least 3 or 4 games. But then we come back and a little bit of weather usually happens. So that stinks, but we're ready for whatever, and we're prepared to play whenever. So
yeah, we're definitely experiencing that weather right now. It's actually just started snowing again, kind of pretty hard out. We just got hit with all that cold and snow, so that's kind of put a dent into what you guys are trying to do. But like you said, you played a little bit earlier back in January, I believe. You guys were the first teams to play college baseball across the NCAA across all 3 divisions. So you played in Houston. Kind of what was that like? How do you feel the team got off to their start?
Well, I mean, for our season getting cut short last year and us being where we were, we felt we're really happy with the team we brought back, because there's a lot of unknowns coming back to this year, especially because you got a lot of fifth-year guys, a lot of sixth-year guys, and then you have true senior guys, and then some guys that weren't going to come back due to like draft and signing and stuff like that. So a lot of unknowns came back, and it was kind of a unique situation where we all kind of knew that we had all of us were here. The main core group of us had a 2019 World Series year together, and a lot of us really wanted to come back and prove ourselves and say we can win that championship together, and this is the team we can. And we ended up bringing in a couple guys. I mean, we brought in Dusty Stroop. And Dusty Stroop's obviously been a keen guy and off to a good start last year, and obviously a great start this year. And for us to bring in guys like that, we lost a couple with Johnny Sprinkle and Jordan Fowler, some key starters, but I think we make that up in other ways. I mean, we're that kind of team. We're adaptable, and we do all those kind of things. But this year for sure is going to be a separator that makes us, I think, really prove ourselves. And I mean, we're ranked high going into it, but we don't look at that. I mean, we're always going to get that kind of look, but that's something for us that we got a target on our back, and we embrace it.
Yeah,
we like to embrace it a lot.
You mentioned last year you got off to that 20-3 start before the year was canceled. You were actually ranked first in the NCAA power rankings in the final one before the season got cut short. You're in the top 3 in just about every preseason poll this year, so a lot of expectations.
Yeah, for sure.
You started a game down in Houston. Definitely a weird start for you. Your first pitch, you hit a batter, and then there was a couple of bunts and an error in there, and I think Cole Taylor even landed on top of you diving for something.
Yeah.
How do you feel your first start went?
It's always going to be your cleanest start's never going to be your first one. So I mean, that's something I like to take. I like to take a positive from each start. So I mean, it stinks. Obviously, it's not going to be a great start, but I think I grinded through 4 or 5 innings and really gave us a chance to win. And that's the biggest thing for us starters. Our motto as a starting pitching staff is to give our hitters a chance to win, give our guys a chance to win. I mean, they're the best offense in the nation, they're the best defense in the nation. We just got to give them a chance to they're going to put up a 10 spot. They're going to provide feedback for me, so I got to support them. So giving them the chance as a starter to grind through whatever and let them be who they are meant to be and what they say they are.
You mentioned the defense. Obviously, everyone knows about the offense, but I was pretty impressed with how the defense played those first 4 games down in Houston. And this is a veteran team. They've all played together before. This is Cole Taylor's 3rd year now at first base. He's kind of learning that position more. Alex Maera, he knows what he's doing out there short. Dusty Stroop, when he came in, he really solidified third base for you.
Yeah,
so how
for
did
sure.
you feel having those guys behind you?
It's a great thing knowing that this is my 3rd year being a starting, and I have almost basically the same infield. I mean, it's really kind of a cool thing. You don't really see that a lot in college baseball. And to know I'm going to trust those guys with anything that comes out their way is a real blessing. And then, especially because we got such an interchangeable group. I mean, you see Harrison Sherbo started so much, and he's been on and off with injuries. Kind of stinks. But I think he's going to have a really good breakout year this year. And then you have guys like Donovan Ditto that are always going to provide guys, and when they need to come in and they play, and you're going to support those guys at second base and shortstop, wherever they get put fit. I think we got a good enough talent level with younger guys that we could throw in guys when guys aren't struggling, and they're gonna help each other be better. And then I'm sure you see we got not a new kid coming in, but redshirt freshman, I believe he is, Cole Moore. I think you probably saw him a little bit. The kid's a grinder. Yeah, he's a real good talented player. So I think we're gonna see a lot out of him this year. And I mean, you guys got him for another 4 years. So I mean,
how would you describe your game as a pitcher? Would you say you're more of a strikeout pitcher? Do you like kind of pitching to contact and letting the defense make plays behind you?
I mean, I think early on in my career, I prided myself on striking guys out and getting outs where I could, and I think that just proves like your overall talent level. Obviously, is like you got punch out stuff that's going to be like your thing. You can prove that, but as you get older, you kind of realize like that's not what's going to make me successful. Honestly, I mean, I would say like my sophomore year, I had a really good year, but I mean, I punched out a lot of guys, but I didn't accumulate a whole ton amount of innings. And so last year, I think I did a little bit of both. I kind of grew into the role a little bit. And I think this year for me, I really just want to pride myself on like accumulated innings, obviously punching guys out, but giving ourselves a chance to win and being a workhorse that like, I mean, Coach Crooks can obviously rely on me, but giving that feedback to younger guys, like I can go 6 or 7 innings and I'm going to grind my way through a start like that is, I think, something for me that I've always wanted to be able to do, and I haven't done in my career. I think one of my longest outings is like 6 or 7 innings. Like that's probably like 3 or 4 times I've done that in my 20, 30 starts here. And that's something I really want to be able to do on a regular basis. I think that's something I really love to see out of like our World Series team. Our 2 other starters, Luke Lucas and Ben Kelch, 2 of my best friends. I was the kid that came in and punched guys out, and I struck guys out, and you get seen from that. But for those guys, because I became the 3rd starter in the World Series, so that was that. And to see them, the last like 4 or 5 starts they had, they just grinded through innings. They threw 7 to 9 innings every time they went out. Their stuff was good, but it wasn't unbelievable. But they got guys out, and that to me like the epitome of a true starting pitcher. And for me to be able to do that with the stuff I have is something I really pride myself on this year, and something I really look forward to being able to not prove to myself, but to prove to everyone that I can be that.
Yeah, it's completely different when you're watching a starting pitcher. He goes out there and he's 12 strikeouts in 8 innings, and he's just dominating, and he's got electric stuff, and it's just completely unhittable.
Yeah.
But when you have a starting pitcher who's struggling, maybe his slider or something's not working that day, and he's really got to get that extra gear going, a test of mental fortitude to really lock down and battle, grind through 6 innings, keep your team in it. That's a whole different type of performance. That's almost like you said, more of a testament to the type of pitcher that he can be.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm a big Mets fan. I don't know if you know that, but one of my favorite starts was Jacob deGrom in 2015 against the Dodgers, Game 5.
Yeah.
Really struggled the first couple innings, but found his way through. I think it was just 5 2-hour run, and Mets got a couple of runs on the board for him. Were able to win that series on their way to the World Series. Those starts were always a lot more nerve-wracking, but they're a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about being a pitcher is that like every outing, I think everyone like expects you to be the same person every outing, but every outing is different. You're never going to have the same feel for every pitch. You're never going to be able to do replicate the same thing. You can do it to an extent, but you got to be as a starting pitcher, you got to know every outing is going to be different, and you just got to take positives. And once you're in it, you're in it. The way you feel in the bullpen is not going to be the way you feel on the mound. It's all you just got to take it as you go, and you just got to reset every inning. And that's one thing I'm blessed with is the coaching staff is we're really keen on doing mental strength stuff, and we do a lot of breathing techniques, and to give us the ability to reset and rethink and refocus and go out and do and know that this half inning's over, I'm gonna go out and do it another inning. Like that's that's something that's really a blessing to be here at our school.
And I know that historically our coaching staff, they don't really lengthen guys out until later on in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you only pitched 4 innings, I think, in your first start. You probably might go 5 innings next time, but those you really play for May and June into those postseason games. You're expected to make 15 starts on the year, so you don't want to get blown out early on in the year. How do you feel about that? I'm sure you obviously want to go.
Yeah, of course. Of course, like in Houston, you're going to say something, but you got to respect the coaches and you got to respect what they think. So I honestly love the fact that they care enough. Like, there's a lot of schools out, they just throw you out there and you're starting pitcher and you're just going to go. Sure. You're going to grind from the beginning, and that's not the right way to do things. And I trust our bullpen enough, so I'm always going to be able to give the ball up. I'm never going to be that hard-headed to be able to be like, maybe later on in the year I'll say something and I want to keep going. Like, I'll do that, but I got to be able to earn that. And then, you know what? Like, I'm as level as everybody else, so I trust everybody else with the ball as much as I trust myself. So to give them the opportunity to go out there and give the ball up to somebody else, I love that. And I love the ability to. It's a team sport. It's not just an eye sport. That's the biggest thing I love about the sport.
Sure, and you're kind of the guy now. You're going to be that prototypical Friday night starter. I know things are kind of different this year with more double headers and whatnot. Are you feeling any more pressure with that?
No, honestly, no, I don't. It's the same as it's always been. I'm gonna go out there and do my job, and I'm gonna give us the best chance to win a ball game. Honestly, there's no difference between Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. There's 3 baseball games. You got to win all 3. So that's the thing for me. That's like you got to set the tone early. That's the biggest thing for me. Is you set the tone early. You set the tone for the weekend. That's how it goes.
Was there anyone who maybe you kind of looked up to your first couple of years here? Like you said, Lucas, Ben Kelch, then last year with Jordan Fowler, another left-handed pitcher like yourself. Anyone kind of like take you under their wing a little bit? Yeah,
for sure. I would definitely say, I mean, my freshman year, I was a bullpen guy. I think I maybe threw like 7 or 8 innings my freshman year, so it wasn't great. Didn't have great stuff. I didn't throw as hard as I do now, so it's definitely a growing process. But I would definitely say like Luke Mercer and Ben Kelch for sure. Ben Kelch was a starter here since I was always here, so he took me under his wing to learn stuff and grow into the starting role. But I would definitely say like Luke Mercer he's my best friend in the world. He's one of my best friends. I'm gonna be in his wedding. This next is coming, I think September. I'm gonna be in his wedding. So that's one of the cool things, like to grow. And he taught me a lot of things, just about becoming a dog, being able to be that guy that goes out on the mountain. Doesn't matter what people say. Doesn't matter like how I'm performing. You got to be level-headed and you got to be able to get guys out. I mean, that's the main game. You got to get guys out. So to find any way to get guys out is one of the most important things to me. And it was kind of cool that kind of connected us, where I went out and played summer ball the year after he went out there and played summer ball in North Carolina and Gastonia, so in the Coastal Plain League. So I went out to the same place he did and stayed with like the close host family that he did. So definitely a cool thing to like that kind of like connected us. So he even took me under his wing even more throughout the whole summer league process. So that's kind of a unique thing.
That's pretty cool. The whole summer league thing kind of intrigues me. It's not something I know a whole lot about. And I think it's different in baseball than it is kind of in other
definitely
sports.
It is.
What do you like about playing summer ball?
I think it's the fact that you come together with, so like for instance, like this is for a lot of guys, but so you have the option to like go out and play these bigger leagues, like the Coastal Plain League, the Northwoods League, and the Cape Cod. Those are all the top 3 Premier Leagues, I would say. But one's on the East Coast, one's the Northeast, like Maine area, and then one's like north, like Wisconsin, Michigan area. Okay. And those are all like, for us kids around here, a lot of us aren't from those areas. So for me, it was a 14-hour. I'm away from home. So, but I think the coolest thing is obviously the growth process, because you have to grow. You can't be out there and you have to get guys out, and you have nobody else around. So you don't have the regular stuff. You got to figure it out on your own, and that makes you like grow as a person, I think. But the coolest thing I got to say about it is the fact that you come together with a group of, I'd say like 30, 35 guys from around the nation, and you literally just show up one day and you meet these guys. So like you literally, I show up.
Guys, you have no idea who they are.
Yeah, I drive 14 hours to North Carolina, and Gastonia, North Carolina. That's a tiny town, and I'm with a host family. I knock on a door, and I'm here for the summer, and I live with this different family. Like, it's crazy. It's a crazy thing, like crazy concept.
It is a little bit.
It really is. But then you're stuck with them, and you love them, and they're like a family now. They love me, and I still talk to them all the time. But then you come together with this group of 30, 35 guys, and they're some of my best friends ever now. I mean, you wouldn't think about it, but you get because you have to be. You're with them for 80 days. You're with them for 80 to 100 days of a summer constantly, because you're not. What else do you have to do? Nothing. You're at the field constantly. You're on the bus traveling, because these games are grinders. It's basically a minor league season, so it's a really impressive, cool thing. And then at the end of it, you just say bye and you guys go your equal way. And it really is a cool thing because I still keep up with so many of these guys from Georgia, guys that go to big schools because it's not just like D2 guys. So it's
Right,
like,
it's
yeah,
all
so like
over.
I played with guys that go to Clemson University. I go to guys that play at South Carolina. So it really is a unique thing to like see these guys do all these different like cool things. Like I had a couple buddies get drafted that were on the team like last year in like the first 2 rounds. Like that's such a cool thing to be able to play with different levels, but it's college baseball at the finest. Like it's just baseball at the thing. We're all equal counterparts there. It's not Division 1 versus Division 2. It's all one thing. So it really is a unique thing to see.
You talk about some guys that got drafted.
Mm-hmm.
UCM has had some guys get drafted in the past. I probably would have had some more if the draft was longer than just 5
Yeah.
rounds last year.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that something that you're looking toward your future, trying to maybe keep playing after UCM?
Yeah, definitely. That's always been a goal of mine and a big dream of mine is to play professional baseball and play in a system and get that opportunity. I think that's a big thing about me coming back this year is getting that opportunity to prove myself and go out and just do me, honestly. But if that becomes a thing, that becomes a thing. But right now, I'm not worried about. I try not to worry about that kind of thing. It is a thing, but I don't try not to worry about it because it's not. Right now, I'm here to be a national champion, and that's what I want to do, and I want to grow our program. And if there's one thing I want to do is leave a legacy, and if I can make an impact on our program, that's the most important thing to me. Like if I can go out there and be a little hard-headed and help younger guys grow the program, like I got grown, and like that's something that I hit home with. Like Luke Mercer and Ben Kellish, and like those guys are like 4 or 5 years older than me. They're close to me now, but they were hard on me when I was here. And to help me grow and become who I am today, if I can make that impact on somebody else, like it doesn't matter the accolades and that kind of thing. Like that'll never mean as much like those younger guys being successful and those guys growing to be who they are. Because in the long term, that's what it's here for.
Right. So let's talk about the makeup of the Mules staff right
Mhm.
now. You're, like we said, kind of the guy right now. You've got the most starts of anyone on the team.
Mm-hmm.
What can you say about some of these other guys that are maybe Mules fans don't know just yet? Obviously, Colin Jones had a start. He has kind of been in and out of the starting rotation, bullpen.
Yeah.
What do you think that the rotation and the staff overall is going to look like?
I think our bullpen's gonna be. I think our bullpen's got a good chance. I think we got a really good group of guys. I think it's a different group of guys than we had last year, but we have a core like 5 or 6 guys that have been here before and they're old and they know what they're doing. I really trust them. I trust Tyler Coolman. Kid's got wipeout stuff. Chase Plymel got one of the best sliders in the nation, I'd say. Then you got Evan Rathburn. He was like 92, 93, and he threw twice in Houston.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if anyone saw that, but Evan Rathburn closed the first game, and then the next game we played doubleheader. He closed the next game. That's crazy, but he does that because that's just who he is as a person. That's going to be our closer. But then I also say like Colin Jones. That's my dog. I mean, it's crazy because like my freshman year, he was the guy. He was a freshman. He came in and started. He was a Saturday starter as a freshman, and then the next year we kind of flipped roles. Next year he didn't really start a whole lot. I became the starter, and so honestly, like a lot of guys would be like, "Oh, you guys like kind of like a weird relationship." It's not at all. It's such a cool relationship because it's like we both have been in the same position. So now last year we both were starters, and this year, I mean, we're the same age. We came in the same class. So for us to grow and learn together is such a cool thing, and I think he's going to be super good this year. I mean, he was 99-2 in his start, and he's got wipeout stuff. He's got a banger slider. He's got all the good. He's got 4+ pitches, and he's going to compete really well in the MIAA. And then I'd say our third starter is going to be Conor Dryer. Conor Dryer's been somebody like I don't know. I'm sure he had a couple of viral videos this summer. He was 95, 97 this summer. And the kid has major league stuff. Like he is a dude. Putting together for him to have some pitchability, to have 4+ pitches is going to be unbelievable. I mean, his fastball is going to be there. That's the thing. But he's one of my best friends, and I think he's going to really have a successful year. For him to come in and show that he can grind for 5 or 6 innings is going to be really impressive, I think, for him.
Right. I think his start in Houston, I think it was his first career start. He's usually kind of been a bullpen guy, so it'll be interesting to see how they lengthen him out as the season progresses. How do you see the team performing this year, overall?
Yeah, I think we're going to have a good year. I think it's going to be really impressive to see how steady-headed we are. But obviously, like you take what we had last year, and you don't forget about it, but you grow on it. You don't just be like, oh, we were number one and we left out. Like that means nothing. That obviously means nothing. But you got to take what we learned, what we didn't do great, and we got to learn on it to make it better each and every. Because like we said at the beginning, like the first start I had, and that's going to be the best one. But we're looking towards May and June. But we got to get to that point. So each outing and each series we have has got to be better and better. So that's something to us that we really pride ourselves on. And is getting 1% better each day. And if we can do that, I think we're going to be really, really strong.
And schedules are going to be a little bit different this
Yeah.
year, playing a lot more double headers than in years past, especially in the MIAA portion of the season. How do you think that affects you? Do you think that's a good thing for the Mules, or do you think that maybe it hurts them a little bit?
I think it kind of is an equal thing. I think we're going to be good either way. I think we do enough conditioning. I think we do enough. I won't say conditioning, but we're strong enough, and mentally and physically, I think we're gonna be fine. We're gonna do just fine. I mean, if whether it's a doubleheader or it's a single game, I think we're gonna adapt and we're gonna fly and we're gonna run around the yard and do things that we do.
Yeah, the word adapt there I think was kind of key. Though I always look at Mules Baseball, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think on the UCM campus, this is kind of the most professionally run team that UCM has.
Yeah, for sure.
And just that adaptability, that ability to change, not let anything rattle you, I think is so important. Is there something you can speak to about that?
I mean, I got to give it a testament to our coaching staff. I mean, that's something that we really pride ourselves on. Coach Crooks is one of the most strong, resilient people I've ever met, and with his assistant, Coach Backus, who just had a kid, by the way, which is shout out. Just had a kid, yeah. Coach Backus just had a kid. But those two guys, they embrace it all. We're gonna go and we're gonna take everything hands on, and we're gonna embrace everything that we get, and we're gonna do it even better than we should. So that's something to me is like Coach Crooks and Coach Backus, and even I know we don't have Coach Stamberski anymore, but he was a big part of that growing into it as we were. That's part of our culture and who we were as a program. Those three guys were like the main bit of who we were, and they laid the bricks for. And I got to give a testament to all the former alumni that did it too. For those guys are the most important thing, because if they wouldn't have done it the right way, we're doing it the right way. I mean, it's just building stepping stones more and more and more. What I said earlier is building the program, and that's, I think, the most impressive thing is that we're just going to keep. You think we're good now, it's just going to keep getting better and better as it grows, I think.
You mentioned the alumni. One of those alumni is your new pitching coach, Ethan Westfall.
Yeah.
Did you ever cross paths here? I think his last year.
I do not know. We did not. No, we did not. Yeah, I think 2 years before he played. Yeah, okay. 2015.
So what can you say about new coach Westfall?
Yeah, he's awesome. He does everything the right way. I mean, I love how he's younger, so he relates to us. But I think the coolest thing about it is that he relates because he's played here, so he knows what it's like to be a player here. But he's also a coach, and so we have a really cool relationship where he knows how to get on people, but he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff science-wise, pitching-wise. He was a pitcher. I mean, he played pro ball for a little bit with the Rockies, which is super cool. And I don't know, but where he came from was KCSC, which is like a premier pitching and strength and conditioning place in KC. A lot of pro guys go there. Okay. And he did a lot of pitching stuff there, and he also does a lot of strength and conditioning stuff. So he actually individually programs out all of our strength and conditioning stuff and does all our pitching stuff. So to him, he works really hard, and it's super impressive to see, and I think he's going to do great wonders at this program and wherever he ends up. I think that's going to be a super cool thing because he's so young.
The science of baseball has really come a long way recently. Is that something that you kind of buy into, or are you still kind of more that old school, just go out there and throw it and you're going to kind of be able to judge on feel?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. I think you're kind of hard-headed to not say that science doesn't work now, because it does work, and I think the way the technology we have proves the way, and it's not just how your stuff works, but it's physically how you should do things is all it should be individualized is the way we do things. It's super cool because you got to take what kids say, and you can't just tell them this is what the numbers say, this is what you need to do. You got to work with them. And I think that's a super cool thing about our coaching staff is that they work with us, and it's a joint party decision on everything we do. It's not going to just be a one-sided thing. We're always communicating. There's a ton of communication that goes on, and I think I do a lot of science stuff. I like the research. I like all that kind of drive line attitude that we do. But at the same time, you still got to go out there and perform. It's still baseball. It's still go out there, and that's old school baseball. You still got to go out there and perform. So you got to take a little bit of both and mix them together and have your own little science experiment out there, I say.
Is there anything in particular that we've kind of been implementing more recently that you've really been drawn to?
I mean, honestly, I would say I don't know if you guys ever heard of a Rhapsodo unit. So basically, this unit it's like a radar gun, but it's on the floor of where you pitch, and it looks at you, and it sees the spin of the ball, the axis, the how hard you're spinning it, the spin rate, all these different numbers and spin efficiency, and basically tells you how your pitches perform at certain levels. And so whether it's my fastball So it basically can tell me if my fastball looks like it rises or if it looks like it sinks, or if it sinks, it moves left, it moves right, if it cuts, it doesn't. And that's a really cool thing to be able to like develop my arsenals, because I'm a big two-seam guy, because my spin efficiency is really low, so I don't spin the ball like really, really high spin efficiency. So like 100 spin efficiency would be like 100% spin efficiency would be a really good four-seam guy. So those four-seam fastballs look like they rise, but this stays true. But like I throw mine at like 75 to 85% spin efficiency, and I throw a lot of two seams because my ball tails, so it cuts out late. So then I compare that with a cutter that I have that moves a little bit to the right, and then I have the changeup that plays exactly the same as the two seam, and then my slider is just banger, just right in there. So it's a
the slider, huh?
yeah, it's a cool thing because it's different for everybody, and the numbers are different for everybody. So that's a super cool thing, because it is a scientific experiment. Because that's the cool thing about baseball, is that there's not one way to do everything. I think in a lot of sports, it's like you got to do this certain way, you got to do a certain way. But like that's the beauty of baseball, is that you can see like everyone's changing, and it's developing more and more at a rapid pace right now.
How do you think that you have grown as both a player and kind of a person through your? This is your 4th year now at UCM.
I would say I've grown dramatically. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for being at this school and being with this coaching staff. And I mean, I give a lot of it to the testament of my faith and my faith in God. And we do a big Bible study here, and I've grown a lot. So a really cool thing we do is we have a Bible study, like a group Bible study with our baseball team. Anyone's welcome to it. We do like it's Wednesdays, usually Wednesdays or Thursdays, so whenever I have time, because our practice schedule is crazy. So, but whenever we have time. But a lot of us guys, like we started when I was a freshman, and only like 5 or 6 of us would go. And I think now we've grown it to like where we get like 25 guys, 26 guys consistently come and do it. And for us to do that is really cool and really impressive, and it's a super cool thing. But beyond that, like it's just having trust and faith that like our coaching staff and buying into a system is gonna help you, but also having communication and knowing that like sometimes you got to go out on your own and find different ways. And so I love like going out and researching my own thing and bringing it to coaching staff and bringing it to other sources, and I want to be where I'm at without like our coaching staff, without Damian Sambursky, without Westfall, without Coach Crooks, and all these different guys. And they really embrace you and all these different kind of things. Because I've had a lot of challenges like with family. Like my mom had breast cancer. Like, so those are a lot of things that like mentally strain you, and you wouldn't think about like, oh, he's just there to play baseball. Well, their kids have other things going on in their lives too. And for our coaching staff to like know that these people have these things going on and they fully embrace it, it's a super cool thing, and it's a home. It really is. And so it makes you grow, and you love each other one-on-one. And so you're not just here to play baseball. You're here to have a lasting impact, and these are going to be your best friends forever. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah, here to grow as a person and become just better men.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah.
What was it that brought you here to UCM? What was kind of like your recruiting process like?
Well, I don't know. I've grown a ton since I've been here, like physically. So when I was younger, like in high school when I was a senior, I think I grew a little bit. But like when I was a junior, which is like when you're a junior, like that's your big like recruiting at times. So like when I was a junior and going to like my senior year, you're usually committed. Like my sophomore, junior year, I was like 5'10", 145, 150 pounds. So like I had a good arm always, but it wasn't like it was not D1 level stuff. So like you're not getting looks from them. And I remember I came to one of our showcases here, like Stars of Tomorrow camp we always host. And I remember like we still had the dirt field. This is like 2014, 2015. I came on a visit here, not a visit, but like a showcase. And my stuff was like very average. And I remember like afterwards thinking like, oh, I did all right. And like Coach Sambursky came up to me and was like, I love your stuff. Like we want to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. And I remember that being like an eye opener, like, oh, I really have like a chance to really do them. Because my dream was all like, I was always going to play baseball in college. Like there was never like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like that was my dream. And I knew it wasn't going to be like D1 level stuff, but I knew I could have an offer somewhere else. Sure. And I wasn't really big on keen on going like JUCO route, because I know a lot of kids do that, and it's huge nowadays. Like that's honestly bigger than going to 4 years now. Like just go 1 year and figure something out. But for them to give this smaller, like undersized kid a chance is really, well, I love the fact that like that's what brought me to them. And I remember I committed really early, and everybody like always like, why'd you commit so early? Then I grew and got better. But I was like, because they believed in me, and I still believe in it, and they believed in me, and they always will believe in me. And that's something that like I love about our university also. Like it's a family, and it's a tradition. And for that whole recruiting process is definitely a cool thing. And if I went back on it, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a dang thing about the whole thing, because it's people say like, oh, you went to a D2. Yeah, I did. And I went to a great university, and they're the best team in the nation. We're going to continue to be the best team in the nation year after year. And I'm become a better person here than I would have anywhere else, and that's why I love our university.
Yep, got a chance to compete for one World Series. Hopefully,
Yeah.
another one coming up. You
Yeah.
got a lot of wins. That's certainly a lot better than just maybe being another arm at a mid-level D1.
Yeah.
In high school, you said you were kind of small, kind of
Yeah.
scrawny. Did you play any other sports growing up or in high
Oh
school?
yeah, every sport. I mean, I would say like I remember my parents would drop me off to like go to golf camp all the time when I was little, and that was just to go to golf camp, and then I would go to like camps all year. I played football and basketball and baseball growing up, so I played all of them. I quit playing football going into high school. I should have kept playing. I think I should have, but I was undersized, so I didn't love it. But basketball, I played all throughout high school, and baseball, and I've loved everything. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today without like my parents. My parents were really keen on letting me do whatever I wanted to, but at the same time, they're hard enough on me where it was like, you know what, you're gonna hold yourself true to like the deal that you made, and you're gonna I wouldn't be where I'm at without their help, and their accountability is my biggest thing I'd like to say. And that's also like here at UCM we have a big accountability system, and we're very keen on like holding each other to a standard. And my parents hold me to a really high standard, and they still, and I'm sure they will. They'll always hold me to a high standard, and I love them for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know you see a lot of kids now are very sport specific. Everything's very kind of specialized.
Yeah.
A kid's 7 years old, maybe he only plays baseball.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's kind of a detriment. You don't get that athleticism that you do when you play all these other sports. And I think that Mules Baseball, when they go out there, like seeing kids that have played multiple sports before. That kind of speaks more to who they are as an athlete.
Yeah, it does. It for sure does.
All right, so we're running out on time a little bit. I want to get to some. I don't know what to call it. But we're going to talk a little bit more about yourself. We're going to have some little fun here, talk about the team. So I'm going to name some players. I want you to give me the first word that comes to your head when I say them. All right?
Okay.
All right. We're going to start with Evan Rathburn.
Evan Rathburn. Cutter. He's got two different cutters, but it's funny. I love the way he pitches, and he's a grinder. And I don't know how old he is. He seems like I don't know how old he is, honestly. But me and him got a bad connection. It feels like he's been here forever, but we've been here the same amount of time. But we like to joke around because we're both thinning in the hair, so we both don't. If you see us wearing hats, there's a reason why we're wearing hats. So don't look at our hairline, okay?
Oh, poor Evan. Conor Dryer.
Conor Dryer. He's my best friend in the world. I can't say enough about that kid. He's funny, he's goofy, and he's talented. Colin Jones. Kid's a gamer. Loves playing games. Loves playing video games. Tell you that. But he's a dude. He's gonna be a dude this year for sure. So keep an eye on him. Tyler Coolman. Kid's got a good beard. Pretty good beard. Everyone likes to make fun of me and him for having a beard, but someone tell Schnurbush he can.
Is this not a facial hair team?
I guess not. I mean, I don't know. Coolman's got a good one though, so I gotta tell it to him. Yeah, he's got a good one, but he's gonna be a big part of this year too.
Mason Green.
First thing I like to say is leader. I mean, that's my biggest thing is I want to leave an impact on our program. It doesn't matter anything that happens afterwards, but I want to be a leader, and I want to be who I say I am.
All right, one last one. Kyle Crooks.
The greatest human on this planet. He is the hardest working man I've ever seen. What he says he does it for us too. He speaks it, but he also does it the way he says. So he is the epitome of a great coach and a great leader and a great human being.
I have a funny Crook story from a couple weeks ago. Kathy Anderson, Senior Associate Athletic Director, was asking him for just a rundown of who was going to Houston, and he gave it to her just kind of off the top of his head. And instead of writing first name and last name, he put everyone's nicknames down. And so she got the sheet, and she didn't know who half of them were.
That's funny.
He puts CT, Webby, Harry, things like that. What are I know this team's got a bunch of nicknames. What are some of your favorite ones from the team?
Oh goodness. Well, we call Schnurbush 8 Ball because that's his number. He's number 8. 8 Ball. Donovan, we call him Ditto a lot. Ditto, D's. Dryer's, Conor Dryer's PlayStation name is Match 9, so I call him Match 9 a lot. Stroopy's got a lot of them. Stroopaloop, Chicken Noodle Stroop. There's a lot of good ones out there for him. You could do a lot with him. Webby's got a lot of them. I mean, he's the greatest. for me, I think he's gonna be with the record he's gonna break. He's the greatest.
He's already got the home run record.
He is gonna go down as the greatest Mules baseball player of all time. I mean, it's potential, and it certainly could. It's unbelievable.
Basically 4.5.
Yeah, Webby's Webby. He's awesome. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Besides that, I don't know if I can say him on air.
What about superstitions? Do you have any personal ones? Does the team have any superstitions?
I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. Office quote, by the way. Honestly, no, I'm not extremely superstitious. I got a lot of stuff like sayings I have in my hat. I like to have that I look at and say a lot to myself. But I wear a couple wristbands, but like I wear 2 wristbands every day, and I put them in my back pocket. That's kind of a superstitious thing. This is a weird superstitious thing actually. I have a Gatorade towel or a towel every time like I pitch, and I wrap it around my arm in between innings. But after the inning's done, I have to fold it and put it perfectly back, like folded, like where it was.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I do. And in between every inning, I like undo my belt and undo my pants, and I tuck everything in and zip everything back up. So, saying that, if you ever see a picture of me with like my fly down, it's not because like I was peeing. It was because because I reset every inning and I just forget. So like in Houston, I can't remember who took the photo, but like Scott, our catcher, Scott Warburton posted a picture on Instagram, and my fly was undone. I was like, oh, come on the mound. Like my fly was undone. I was like, okay, dude. And I couldn't tell you like 3 or 4 times in my career, like I witnessed it like mid inning, and I've had to like call time and like unzip my pants, like rezip. And I was like, gosh, dang.
Have you chosen a new walkout song for this year?
Yeah, I have. This year I'm going with Hypnotized by Plies featuring Akon. So anyone that knows me, I'm a huge Akon fan, and that song just gets me going. So be ready for that one in the stands this year, guys. 2 minutes of it.
Coming out hopefully in another week or so, next home series.
Yeah.
You follow MLB at all? Are you
a
baseball guy?
Yeah, I'm a big baseball guy. I'll follow it all.
That's funny because when I was talking to Webby, he said he really doesn't watch a lot of MLB stuff. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Hard to, some guys sometimes they like playing, and once they get done with it, they kind of want to do something else. But you follow it all. You like watching it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a huge like stat person. Like I know Harry Schnurbush, if he's the master of stats. You ask him any stat question, he knows everything about stats. But like me personally, I just like watching like good players. I'm really just keen on like learning. So I like watching like how pitchers do things and just like different. You can learn a lot just like from watching the way hitters think. So I love grinding our hitters' gears and like watching them in the tunnel and watching them face guys and get a thought on like how they perceive things, because I'm trying to my goal is to get them out. So why would I not try to like reach out and figure out what they're thinking? So I think that's a really cool thing to watch, and just all sports is the uniqueness of it. And honestly, I'm just trying to grow myself.
Any pros you like watching in particular?
Trevor Bauer. I mean, Trevor Bauer signed a huge deal. I think everyone hates him for some reason. I don't know, because he's everywhere all over now. But I love the way he works and the way. I mean, he's the big science guy. He's honestly developed a lot. A lot of people ask me why, but like, I mean, he's not a lefty, but like that for me, like that's still like.
You still learn something.
He's got good stuff, and he's got a good attitude, I think, and I think he's gonna do big things this year too. So, and he's with the Dodgers now, so they'll probably win the World Series again. But hey, you never know.
What do you think about the new rule changes for MLB? It's actually it's kind of taking some from softball more than anything else.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy things going on. Like I think like the extra inning rule is, I don't know how they feel about that, because when I was in summer ball, they were thinking about that. We did the same thing. We're like runner. It's California rule. It's like
start the runner on second.
Start a runner on second when it goes to extra. So in the top of the 10th or any inning, extra inning, the visiting team or the hitting team gets a runner on second to start. Well, that's like you bunt somebody and then you have a ground ball and you score and it's over. So I don't know. We'll see how it turns out this year. I think there's going to be a universal DH one day, but I don't think they're ready for it yet.
And they've also talked about doing more 7-inning doubleheaders too.
Yeah.
Kind of like they did last year. I mean, you guys have played 2 9-inning doubleheaders.
Yeah.
In Division 2.
Yeah.
So watching the MLB play 7-inning doubleheaders, that's kind of strange.
Yeah, I mean, playing 18 innings a day is a grind. I mean, if for anyone, that's going to be a long day, whether it's just standing there or doing anything. Like, that's a long day of baseball. But honestly, that's what you're here for. So, I mean, we love it. We embrace it. So, one thing for the MLB to do. I mean, they got all the amenities in the world, so they probably love being there and doing whatever. They're getting paid a lot of money, so they can do that. But for us, it's honestly we embrace it. And it just gives us another opportunity to go dominate.
Any rule changes you'd like to see come to Division II baseball, college baseball?
I'm really happy with where things are at right now. I do think that like having your both heels on the rubber is kind of weird that you get to do that. That's a new rule because like my heels aren't always on the rubber when I pitch, but when you're in the windup, you have to have both heels like crossing the rubber. So like if the rubber's here, you have to have both heels like on it or somewhat. It's kind of a weird thing because like why does that really matter? Because like, nobody else is on. So I don't know, but honestly, that's just something else that just like they're just trying to speed up the game. So it's just you gotta embrace it because they're trying to change it. They want viewership to go up. So you just gotta go with it.
All right, like I said, running out of time, Mason. I'll give you the final word. Anything you want to add?
No, I'm excited for this year. I think we're gonna do our thing. So come out and support. We're getting a new stadium, not a new stadium, but we're getting some new upgrades. We got some new seats, new stands. I'm really thankful for everything I've been, and all glory to God. Thank you.
Where can people follow you at on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter at LetItFly43, and then on Instagram you can follow me at MasonGreen_. And then PlayStation Network, add me. We'll play a lot of Fortnite and Call of Duty. LetItFly43.
LetItFly43. Mason, great time hanging out with you, talking baseball. Looking forward to another great Mules baseball season. Mules are going to be home again, if not this weekend, maybe beginning of March. Check out UCMathletics.com for schedule updates, things like that. Come out to Crane Stadium. You're going to see some great world-class baseball. For Mason Green, producer, engineer Evan Holmes, I'm Joe Hoffman, and this has been the Roll Stable Podcast.